Welcome to Real Estate Secrets Unlocked, the podcast that takes you inside the minds of the industry's top professionals, revealing their top secrets to success. I'm your host, Danielle Damianov. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, get ready to learn the latest trends, strategies, and secrets that will help you succeed. Join us as we go beyond the basics and explore what it takes to make it in the world of real estate. So buckle up and get ready for a wild ride. This is Real Estate Secrets Unlocked. Hey everybody, it's Danielle Damianov, and I am here today with Pedro Meneses with Meneses Realty. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited for you to tell everybody your story. So I appreciate it.
Hey Danielle, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. So
yes.
Appreciate the opportunity.
So you are a real estate agent in Dallas, Texas. Broker now, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. So real estate agent in Dallas. Is it Dallas or are you kind of in a suburb?
I'm pretty much North Dallas. We covered all the Frisco, Plano, pretty much the North Dallas area. That's our main area that we cover. But yeah, we're pretty much working the DFW. You know, sometimes we have people that need help, especially in the sphere of influence, and they might need help in forward. We help them, but just an exception to the rule. Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about how you got started in real estate.
Well, I got started in real estate back in 2020. So I haven't been in real estate for too long. But my wife, Kayla, she started way before me. By the time she started in real estate was when we were still living back in Reno. But I was doing all the lead generation. I was doing all the marketing for her. And that was what I was doing for other people too. So I had a very good understanding of the industry because I needed to understand, like, okay, what is the type of leads that we need to generate for real estate agents, right? Or brokers or even loan officers and things like that. So being in marketing and doing lead generation really taught me a lot about real estate. So, the pandemic hit and our plans back there a couple of years ago was for me to get my real estate license in 2021, but then COVID happened. So we kind of moved that goal to 2020, and that's when I got my license in October of 2020. But even before I got my license, I was already working with some clients. Don't tell Trek that, because even before I couldn't wait to have my license, I was like, we need to make money, because it was a tough year for everybody, So, and we had a period in 2020 that Kayla couldn't work because when we moved from Reno to Dallas, they don't have reciprocity here. So she had to go through all the 180 hours. So it was just me doing marketing and doing all that stuff and doing some other shit that I needed to do in order to keep the roof over her heads and stuff like that for her. Yeah, pay the bills. It was a rough year, but it was a great experience. It taught me a lot. 2020 taught me a lot. So once I ended up getting my license, by the time I got my license, I was just waiting for the license to get my first few people under contract because I was already working with them,
Yeah, exactly. So tell me, what were you doing before then? You were doing like marketing for agents, lead generation, that type of stuff?
Yeah, so I started doing that back in 2018, 2019. At the end of 2019, I switched gears a little bit because at that time, Kayla was working with EXP. And she had some really good mentors there. So I kind of wanted to go a different way. And I started to do marketing for breweries and things like that, tap rooms. And I love beer, so I wanted to try that feel. It didn't work. And that's what also pushed me to, no, I think this is a sign. And it is time for me to get into real estate. So that's what happened.
Awesome. So tell me, first of all, one of the biggest challenges real estate agents have, especially, I have a coaching group that I coach, and leads, getting leads. They might know how to sell a home. They know the contracts, they know all this stuff, but getting the leads is the toughest part for real estate agents, especially a lot of people don't realize this is definitely a sales job. So you having lead generation experience is awesome. What are some of the ways that you guys generate your leads?
We do mainly organically through social media. We've been doing social media since we started doing business, since Kayla she started in real estate. I was doing all the marketing and all that stuff. We have built our name online, and that's pretty much how we have generated leads. And one of the reasons why we even at the beginning with Kayla, because when um, she started, I never belonged to like a this big, when I got my license, I was never part of a big team that they provide you leads and all that stuff because I freaking hated that, you know. But at the beginning, Kayla, she did, because she just wanted to get some practice, get some leads, like get the reps, get the experience and things like that. And the reality is that I don't like people touch my money, and those teams sometimes they tell you they're gonna give you leads, but they take a bigger cut from you. So that's what I told Kayla. It's great that you have those leads, and it's good to have sources of leads like this. Like for example, right now we don't need leads from anybody. We can generate our own leads. I have ads that I turn on and turn off every couple of months. They generate good leads. I don't need to worry about that, but we still do have partnership, for example, with Veterans United. That can be a great way to start. And the
Yes.
reason why we have that partnership is because we have other stuff going on. We have an Airbnb management company. We work with investors. We mainly transition into work more with investors, with the home buyers and home sellers, right? So we have that lead source there just to make sure that can keep feeding us instead of something happen, because you never know, right? Like there's slow months, there's big months, whatever. So we do have that source of leads, but it is on our own terms. We don't, like I was telling you at the beginning before we started recording, we finally more independent. Not that we're brokers, but our license is under a broker that is pretty much just sponsoring our LLC. So now we're pretty much independent. As long as we follow the rules, we're good to go. We can use our name, obviously have certain rules that you have to follow, but we pretty much now have the ability to build our own business. But I think the problem why most agents don't know how to generate their own leads is because, first of all, I know this is going to piss a lot of people off, but they're too lazy to start learning how to generate their own leads. I do believe, like you were saying, this is a sales job. And one of the problems that I see in this industry is that when you join a broker, the way they structure these brokers, it makes you want, even if you don't want it, it puts this chip behind in your head that it makes you act and think like an employee instead of as an individual that can have the opportunity to build your own business.
100%.
So most agents come to these brokers, right? To any broker, and there's like, and this is the sole proposition that every broker put out there, right? We're gonna provide you with leads, right? But it's good if you're getting started, so you can know and make your mistakes and things like that, because you're gonna make mistakes in this industry regardless, right? So I think it's a good way to start. But I think one of the main thing that people are missing in real estate is at least to have the basic knowledge of how to generate their own leads online, how to build their social media, and how to build their own brand. And there's plenty of people out there that they have done that, even with big brokers or not, they have created their own marketing, they have got clear in their own brand, and now their names that everybody recognizes because they did do the work on that area. I mean, as a salesperson, and as an entrepreneur, the first two skills that you have to develop is marketing and sales, right? Most agents develop the sales side of the first two skills in business, right? But most of them, they don't develop that other half that is the marketing, and their ability
and a
to
lot
know
of
how
them
to
develop the transaction. Like they're more focused on the transaction than they are on generating the leads. They put the cart before the horse because they want to make sure everything's perfect, and they have this analysis paralysis. And I tell agents all the time, it doesn't matter what broker you work for, you're the CEO of your own business.
Yeah.
You have to treat this like a business, but they don't. Like you said, if they're working for another brokerage, they can't flip the switch in their mind that no, it doesn't matter that you're working for this brokerage. You're the CEO of your own business. And if you don't start acting like that, you're going to be getting a different job. I mean, I can't tell you all how many times I talked to an agent last week, and he said he's a decent agent. He's good. He's got past clients, and he goes, I think I'm going to start bartending a couple nights a week. And I'm thinking, okay, so you're going to go and bartend, work on somebody else's time instead of spending 2 hours a day, 5 days a week on lead generation that's going to get you all of the deals that you need to survive, right? So
Exactly.
a lot of times they don't want to do the sales, do the marketing, and they're just waiting to be fed, and then they're starving.
Exactly. And that's the problem, like, because it's funny how a lot of people in real estate, they're like, oh yeah, I'm a self-employed and I have my own business, but you don't act like one, like you're still expecting for, like you said, for the broker to keep feeding you leads. And then you wonder why you're broke, because the reality is that all of this, here's the problem with lead generation. a lot of these brokers, they hire these big companies, right, for lead generation, so they can provide leads to everybody in their teams. But the problem is that most of these leads are recycled leads. It is the same lead that another 28 agents are targeting. So it makes a huge difference when you go outside of the box and start doing your own thing. And start, like, literally you start getting your name recognized in the area that is where you want to work. It's like if you look at our social media, or you look in groups and someone asks for a real estate agent here in Texas or in Dallas specifically, there's 30 people tagging me and my wife. Why? Because we have built our brand online. People recognize us. People
And
know
I
who
think
we are and what it is that we do.
one of the things that you've said that is so important for anybody, watching this or listening to this, a lot of agents come on and they're scared, newer agents, right? They're scared. They feel like the imposter syndrome and stuff like that. And I tell them the easiest way to build authority, right, to create that authority is to build your brand online, because people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And even if you don't know them personally, right, if they're seeing you online and you're putting out good content and your branding is good, you can establish yourself as an authority in your field, in any field. But, in talking about real estate, you can establish yourself as an authority in real estate and be a brand new agent. You just have to do the work, do the content, right?
Exactly. That's why when I got my license, I never needed nobody, because we knew exactly what we needed to do to generate our leads. Like I said at the beginning, Kayla, she had to leverage the team model, because she needed to learn that she didn't know anything about real estate. I learned through her a lot of the stuff that she experienced, and that's why when I got my license, kind of like have a little more of experience. But we understood that we needed to generate our own leads. We needed to build our name. We needed to build our brand. And here's the reality. I'm going to tell you why some of the people don't, especially in real estate, they don't do this stuff, or they don't. I believe there's two reasons why. They're too lazy to do it and learn a new skill, a skill that is going to make them a shit ton of money. And second, like you were talking about the imposter syndrome. Flash news. That bitch voice will never go away. It will level up all the time with you. Like, I always share it with people, because people always ask me, like, man, you post so much stuff on social media. Sometimes it's very controversial. Sometimes, like, it's kind of like really dark humor. Like how do you deal with the bitch voice? Like, here's the thing, man. I have recorded almost 130 episodes in my podcast, and that bitch voice still shows up on every recording. Before I'm gonna click record, it always show up. Man, why are you gonna do this? You suck at it. Let's just look, hear your accent. Nobody's gonna understand what you're saying. For almost 130 episodes, that is the words that bitch will says to me. So what makes you think that bitch was gonna go away at one point, or the imposter syndrome? It levels up with you,
Yeah.
Like that's the old adage, right? With a new level, there's a new devil. That's how the imposter syndrome works. But the only way that you can overcome that imposter syndrome is if you take action. And the 100%. Other people, and the problem why people don't take action with the imposter syndrome voice is because sometimes that imposter syndrome voice is fed by the people around them, because then you have your family, then you have your friends, or then you have other agents, right? That they've been in this industry for 30 freaking years doing the same thing over and over with the same picture that they took 30 years ago, right? And when you start trying to do something different, they start like, oh, who do you think you are? Tony Robbins, Tim Ferriss? They think that you're a guru in real estate and all that stuff. You have to get rid of all these people, and you have to, like, really just ignore what they say, because I believe that's the few reasons why, or the main reasons why a lot of agents don't do it. They're lazy. They don't know how to deal with imposter syndrome. And they're listening to the wrong people, or they have the wrong people around them. Well, that's the reality.
And totally. And being self-employed comes with its own challenges. I mean, a lot of people get into the business and think, oh, I have the flexibility and I can do this and do that. If you are not sticking to a schedule, if you are not, doing lead generation or active prospecting on a daily basis, you're never going to survive. And so a lot of people get into the business thinking, oh, they can do whatever they want. They're at the gym at, noon and blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that you have to force yourself to treat this like a job, right? And that's the only way you're going to be able to grow and scale, because every like as you grow, every stage is going to have different challenges. If someone wants to do, 10 deals a year, well, then go do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. But if you're wanting to do 30, 50, 150, 300 deals a year, well, then your schedule and what you put in that schedule is going to be completely different than the person doing 10 deals a year. And so a lot of people get into it thinking, oh, I'm going to have the flexibility. I can do this and do that. But if you continue with that mindset, you're never going to be able to do, the amount of business.
I don't know what makes people think that just because they're self-employed, they have the flexibility. You don't. You have more responsibility. You have more responsibility than being a freaking employee because you don't have a secure check coming in every month.
Exactly.
Like nobody's paying your bills. You don't have. There's no securities. There's no safety net. There's anything like that, right? Yeah, you have more time because, you can. I think the mistake is that you can organize your time in whatever way you want. Like I don't start working until 10 o'clock every day, but I have different things that I do in the morning that are important for my self-development, for my personal life, for other areas that are important to develop, not only business, right? But we bust our asses every single day. Like I know 6 days a week with Kayla, we're busting our asses like nobody,
Exactly. And you
that's
have to do that when you're starting out too. I mean, people don't understand. You have to work so much harder than you think you actually, need to. And then eventually it gets easier because you have leverage. You can add people. You're it. Like when you're starting out as a real estate agent. I mean, like you're it. You're putting the signs in the yard. You're, doing your lead gen, your marketing, all of that. But as you grow and scale, then you can put people in place to take a lot of that, off of you.
I'm gonna tell you something, and this is a big mistake. A lot of real estate agents, even the ones that are getting started, every time we come across, like in a lot of our sales, I promise you, almost in every single sell, whether we're the buyer or the listing agent, it doesn't matter. But every single time we come across another agent, they're always in shock that we pay $350 per transaction to our transaction coordinator. It's like, oh, I cannot imagine myself paying that. Dude, you closing deals that you're paying you what, an average of $8,000 to $9,000, like for commission, like it's not about the $350, $500 that you can pay a transaction coordinator. It is the freedom that you have. Because here's the thing, I always tell people, like, I don't know, I have never, you can ask Kayla, I have never deal with any escrow process. Like I get people under contract, the transaction coordinator. I don't have a clue how that looks like.
Yeah,
I don't. I since my very first deal, I leverage a transaction coordinator because here's the thing: it is the mindset, right? People is like, oh, $350 is a lot. It's a lot for what? Like literally, you're gonna spend from A to Z. I know people 20 years in this industry still dealing with their own paperwork. What in the world are you doing? Like it costs us $350. Like we get these people under contract, we send all the documents to the transaction coordinator. She takes care of all that stuff. Guess what? All those hours that could take me to just make sure that everything is in order, that every document, every signature and all that stuff, I'm using that time to go out there and get someone else under contract.
100%.
So I'm not paying a transaction coordinator. I'm invested in this woman so I can get my time back so I can go and close more deals. When you start switching that mindset and you start thinking that way, that's when you're going to start growing too and making more money because literally, like, stop being so cheap. Like $350, like for us, I was like, I want to pay you even more. I feel like I'm not paying you enough because you save me so much time for me to go out there and make more deals and get more business. And she's going to be happy, because she's going to make more money too. So,
yeah.
And
that's why a lot of people are on, I call it the sales roller coaster. It's like they do the lead gen, they get the deals, and then they have all of this shit going on and they stop doing what got them the deals because they have to deal with the paperwork. They have to deal with this. They have to deal with that. They don't want to have unhappy customers. And it makes your customer service go down. Also, if you're the one dealing with all of that stuff, like pay somebody else. Or I'll talk to agents that are like, oh, I'm at the home inspection. Why? What are you going to do at the home inspection? You're paying a professional to inspect the home. You have nothing to do with it. You're going to sit at a home for 3 or 4 hours while somebody else is inspecting it, or they're taking photos with their cell phone. And I'm like, okay, pay the professional photographer. Photos are upside down, the toilet seats are up, like it looks like shit. And that's your reputation. So if you want to go and get a new listing and you see what your listings look like on the internet, like you have to put your best, you have to show your best with everything, with your marketing, with, the way your listings look, with everything. So I agree with
Yeah.
you 100%. Like you don't have to have a ton of business to have a transaction coordinator. That frees up your time to get more deals and help more people.
Or even more people, like in your team. Like it's so cheap to hire a VA nowadays. You can
Yeah.
have VAs pay them $4 an hour or $6 an hour, and you don't have to use them for 8 hours. You can just put them to do certain tasks, certain things, and pay them for that. So it's just I think people don't understand that they are in business, but to be in business, it means that you have to reinvest in your business. It doesn't mean that all the money goes to the business, because obviously you have to live, enjoy life, and all that stuff, right? There's a season of your life that you have to sacrifice certain things, right? Like we have sacrificed for years, like a lot of stuff that we wanted to do, but we just had our second vacation in less than 3 months, because now we can enjoy the things that we have built and start having more time for ourselves too, and enjoy other things and travel and do things that we would like to do. But it's like, and at the beginning, I'm not gonna like Kayla a little bit. She have that mindset. It's like, I don't care. I don't care if it's whatever it is. We paying a transaction coordinator. I'm not dealing with paperwork. I'm telling you, I don't.
Yeah.
If you ask me a question about paperwork right now, like I'm gonna tell you, call Kayla, because I know shit about that. Because my transaction coordinator since day one, she's been taking care of that. I have never dealt with paperwork after we get someone under contract. I don't know what that looks like, because the transaction coordinator, she takes care of that. I'm good at selling. I'm good at talking to people. I'm good at doing social media. I'm doing being creative. That's my strength, not paperwork. That's why I give it to someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're saving, that you're saving the sellers, because if you think about it, whether it's a buyer or a seller, there's a lot of things in that contract. And I see it all the time, right? Financing contingencies coming up. The buyer's not fully approved, could be an issue. If you don't extend that financing contingency, well, guess what? The seller can get the escrow money. So like you have to be all over your contracts. And if you're not going to be, then you have to give it to somebody else that's going to be, because you're losing money for your buyers, right? Or possibly sellers if you're not on top of those contracts. So that's 100%. The other thing I used to absolutely hate doing is data entry, inputting into the MLS. I never did that. Get a virtual assistant from, wherever that can do all of that, upload the photos for you, input the listings into the MLS. If you don't like doing some of the marketing, have them do that for you. But you definitely have to outsource, or else you will always be on that sales roller coaster. Super high, ton of deals, and no deals for like several months. So one aside, and I think that's a great advice for people that are just starting out also, is don't do it all. Start to outsource and start to leverage. You brought up a team and your wife working for a team, and I do recommend sometimes, not all the time, I didn't do that. I was never on a team, mainly because if I'm going to be self-employed, I want to listen to myself, and I know I'll work harder than like anybody. So I didn't want to be on a team and someone telling me what to do, but in certain instances, it is good to be on a team. So is that something that you would recommend for people starting out, or what do you think about that?
I think it depends on what your goals are. Like I was telling you at the beginning, Kayla did it because we didn't know anything about real estate, right? We were I was just doing the marketing and things like that, but I was learning too. And she didn't know what it looked like to be an agent. So she joined the team just to like get some experience and get some guidance. But as soon as she learned the basics, she removed herself from the team. She was like, I'm going on my own leads, because I'm obviously being part of a team obviously costs you more, right, on your commission, because they provide you with the leads, they provide you with all this stuff. Obviously going to cost you more. So it worth the sacrifice if you want to learn. And if you really want to get the experience. Curve. Exactly. Insurance is a learning curve. Exactly.
Yeah.
But like I said, she was just in that team for like, I don't know, maybe 4 months. Like it was not too long, because I think she got her first on the first week being a real estate agent, she got her first deal under contract. And same from the very beginning, she had someone who guide her. And her first deal, she had a transaction coordinator too. Down the road, she had to learn some of the paperwork for the sake of having her SOPs in place. But other than that, she just got the first few deals, and they're like, okay, I know how to do this. Now it's time for me to go do my own stuff. So
Yeah.
it just depends on what it is that you want, because there's people that they're happy being part of a team, right?
Yeah.
That's
Well, and
what they
you
like.
mentioned about the recycled leads. I mean, the big thing, and I talk to agents all the time that are on, getting the team leads and stuff like that, whether it's Boomtown or Sync or Real Geeks, any of those are long-term plays. And so if a new brokerage implements Boomtown or implements, Sync or any of those leads take a lot to nurture over time. And
Yeah.
so agents get frustrated, like these leads are crap. And then they don't call on those leads like they should be, because they're like, I'm just getting all these crap leads. Like I'm not closing anything. It sucks.
I think there's no such thing as a bad lead. There's only a bad salesperson, because yeah, not all the leads are gonna convert, but you have to do the work. This is a numbers game, right? Like
Right.
we have so many leads coming in, and like from I don't know how much I think right now I don't remember exactly the exact number of leads that we have in our CRM. There's a lot of leads, but we have close 10% of those leads, which is above average, because the average people that are the average company is like 1% or 2% of their leads that they close. We have close 10% of our leads, you
Yeah.
know, but it's because being consistent, calling the people, following up with them, make sure that if they don't answer, put them on a drip campaign. It is as simple, like I have people reaching back to me, people that I never put them the only thing that I did for them was to set them up on a custom search directly from the MLS, so they can get automatic emails with new homes and all that stuff. And then I never talked to them again. And I can tell you, for the past 2 years, I have maybe 6 or 7 people reaching back out from those emails that I never touched. That simple as that. Like you really don't need to have like a whole marketing campaign. Just as simple as that, people can remember you because they see your emails coming in all the time,
Right.
and when they're ready, they call you back. But this is a long-term game. This
Yeah.
is not something that, especially if you're working with first-time home buyers, right? Like I think that's where most of agents starts working with first-time home buyers. That's a long shot, because you have to
And
explain
I
them. You
think
have to.
funny when people work with new agents, work with first time home buyers. It's like the blind leading the blind, right? It's like you're a brand new agent working with a brand new homeowner that has a million freaking questions that you don't know the answer to. So sometimes
But
I'm like, okay.
that's why I think it's part of the education too of every agent, because I know that, for example, the state of Texas is very, very strict when it comes to like the things that you can talk to a client and all that stuff. You're not like a lender and all this stuff, but at least they encourage you to know the basics, right? Most agents don't know the basics about lending, and
Yeah.
sometimes knowing those things um can help you close more deals. Like we have seen that over and over and over. Like we have saved so many deals from people that they tell them, oh no, you cannot buy a home for XYZ. And because we have learned at least the basic stuff and a little bit more than just the basic of lending, we have saved those deals, you know, because
And
it's
it
like,
comes
no,
to
that's bullshit. Like,
education, like you were just saying, like taking the time to learn all of the different aspects. Now, do you guys kind of, you mentioned that you're going more towards investors, and I can tell you my husband, I mean, we've both been in real estate since 2000, real estate and mortgage since 2002. He's done a million deals, but he is not your real estate agent that like is going to take a buyer out. He only prefers to do his own deals or work with investors and stuff like that, because it's a totally
I'm the
different,
same.
yeah, it's just a different, there's no emotion, right? There's no emotion
Yeah.
involved for the most part. It's money, it's figures and stuff like that. It's deals. So you kind of came in as an agent, I'm sure worked with whoever, but now you're niching more towards investors.
Yeah, because like I was mentioning to you before, uh, our goal is not to be the traditional realtors. I even freaking hate being called a realtor. I'm calling myself a real estate professional because we do work with investors. Like that's our mission. That's the mission for our business. Literally on the wall it says our mission is to help people build wealth through real estate, right? And that's our goal. So, um, And the reason why that's our goal, and the reason why we want to work more with investors, is because it is aligned with what we want and the direction we want to take our company. Because like you were saying, there's no emotion. It's more like numbers. It's not like it is not like people know exactly what they're dealing with, at least the majority. And I have more joy helping someone that is about to buy their first investment property and explain them in the process and help them then change that mindset from consumer to investor, because there's so much that goes behind on investment properties that a lot of people have no even clue, not even agents. Even for us, it took us a little bit to change our mindset from a normal real estate agent to someone who works with investors, because we are getting in the investment game too. And the other reason why we're doing it is because we have the short-term rental and management company. So we do deal with a lot of investors. But like I was telling you, our goal, or my main goal, is really to just do things differently, from our marketing, from like I was talking with someone who's working right now on our website. Is like, dude, the only thing I don't want, I'm not, you're not gonna make me wear a suit if you're gonna put a picture of me. I'm gonna wear the same t-shirt that I wear every single time I go to showings or whatever. I just need to be myself, because
Yeah.
we're just tired of all this generic bullshit everywhere, like, and here's a thing that I can give to the audience if they want to start leveraging social media. Just be the same person that you are in person and social media. I have no filter. I'm constant social media. I go to my showings with t-shirts that literally says America 40, Texas and 49 bitches and things like that. My clients, but because I know exactly who I want to work with, like my clients, they call me bro, like I have clients before buyers, that literally after show, hey man, let's go grab a beer. Let me buy you a beer and things like that. Just because I'm the same person online that I'm on in real life,
And that's why you
and
love
that's the
what you
people.
do. Because a
Exactly.
lot of
That's yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, a lot of people get into this, right? And they try to become somebody that they're not. And then their avatar, they don't even have one, right? Is they're working with all of these different people. So like you doing you and being you is going to make your job so much more enjoyable. It's just like it's a game. It's just like a game and you're like playing another, it's another day and another game. And I love that,
Exactly.
generational wealth is like my biggest thing also. And like I'm always saying, my goal is to help other people achieve generational wealth, not just wealth for themselves, but wealth for,
Yeah.
their next generation, like changing the trajectory of your entire family. Right. And so we know Ryan Stewman's doing that. You're, I'm sure, doing the same thing. It's not like we all came from millionaires and blah, blah, blah. No, we're
Yeah.
working our ass off and we're working to change the trajectory of our lives and all of the lives that come after us in our family.
Absolutely. And that's why it's important, just, like you were saying, getting clear on who it is that you want to work with, because there are some people that they find fulfillment working with first time home buyers, right? So build your life and build your brand around that. Become that person that people see as like, oh man, this is the guy that helps, or the gal that helps people getting to their first home or something, right? But I think that's one of the issues in this industry. Like they all try to be someone who they're not,
Yeah,
and I see that
absolutely.
all the time. Like the other day, I show up at it was a listing that I needed to take some videos for one of our investors. They were having like a broker open house, and like I was like, I don't fit in here, guys. You guys, I can feel the vibe. You're pretending to be something you're not. So fuck off. So I don't know if I can cuss here, but anyway, but it's the truth, because I like you see our signs, like we put our listing sign literally says this house is lit AF. You know, that's
I
because
love
that's
it
how
though. You're totally changing the way that like the traditional, and you said that in the beginning, like
exactly.
you don't want to be a traditional agent, right?
Yeah, and because then because look, seriously, like how many people, and I'm not trying to judge anybody, but I mean, is it true? How many you as a lender in lending, you have worked in this industry for 20 years, or almost more than 20 years, that there's people that they pretend to be something, and then when you really meet them in person, they're a completely different energy, right?
Yeah.
So that's gonna throw off your clients too. That's the same perception that your clients have too. So that's why I'm real, like that time there was a time that somebody called me uh, because of one of our listing signs. And it's like, it was this old man saying like, So I just want to make sure, like, so what is like lead AF means? It's like, sir, it means lead as fuck. That's what it means. Oh, I wasn't sure that what that means. Like, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, cool. Yeah, with that, that's what it means. That's our marketing, you know? Well, I don't think you're ever gonna sell a house like that. Well, you might be right, but yeah, we're here having a conversation about my freaking sign. So, like,
So
he
let me
couldn't say
ask you,
anything.
are you looking to buy, sell, or invest anything? Right? That'd be
Yeah,
awesome
he
if
was
you
like,
turn that right into a deal.
I thought about it, but just the fact that he was offended and the fact that he was the way he was acting about a freaking sign that says lead AF, immediately I know that he was not my perfect client. So I
Yeah.
don't give a shit if he wants to buy a $5 million home from me. Like, if you don't fit the criteria, if you're not the person, I don't deal with your shit. I'd rather lose the deal and find the right person.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that a lot of agents are afraid. They're afraid to lose deals because instead of not working with the wrong people, that is going to give them a freaking headache, that is going to cause them problems, that is going to make a freaking transaction a pain in the ass. Like, I have fired so many clients that have cost me millions of dollars in sales. But I don't care, because after I fire them, there's a better lead that shows up all the time, guaranteed. Because again, you have to focus on one thing, right? And who's your perfect client and who you want to do business with. But if you don't, then you're just gonna become like, you're gonna be all over the place, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Well, and that goes
So,
back to
but
having standards, having standards
yeah,
with who you're going to work with, what you're going to allow, what you're not going to allow. So before we jump off, what is some of the social media, because I know you do a ton of social media, what are some of the social media tips, advice, for somebody that might not want to be doing it all? What should they do, whether it's podcasting, Facebook, TikTok, video, that type of stuff? What would you recommend?
well, I will say that first of all, it all starts with getting clear on who's our perfect audience, right? Because once you get clear who's the ideal client they want to work with, then you can find out where your audience hangs out, right? Like, for example, if your target audience are first time home buyers under 30 years old, you're not gonna find them on Facebook. You're gonna find them on Instagram, right? TikTok maybe, but I think TikTok is more like a little lot more younger generation. But if you're looking, let's say from under 35 years old, you know that your perfect audience probably is gonna be in Instagram, right? So once you choose to know who's your perfect client, I will say stick to one platform and learn how to leverage that only platform before you move to the other one, because there's different ways you can do that, because you can repurpose. Like, people says, I don't know how to come out with the same with more content. Dude, I may post like this year, a lot of the posts that I make in different groups that I belong to are posts that I made 2-3 years ago. I have all my content saved and I repurpose it all the time. So
I
you don't
love that. So where are you saving, right? All of your content, and are you doing the repurposing, or do you have a virtual assistant doing that?
up to this year I was doing last year I was doing it, but now I have someone who started doing that for me. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I use a app that is called Evernote, because you can have like different notebooks in there. So I have a
Yeah.
notebook that is just for content. So I create a note for each day. So if I made 2 posts, that's where I put them. And because I do a lot of reading content, right? But even if you do Instagram, you still have to write a lot. You still have to put some captions and things like that, right? So let's say that that's the platform you want to focus, and you leverage that platform and you figure out how to use the platform, because there's different ways, there's different strategies, and you don't have to have it all perfect. Like, you can go see my content from 2-3 years ago or more, and it's shitty. Now it looks more professional. I have a professional equipment, I have camera, I have everything that I need to make it look better audio, all that stuff, because the details do matter. But at the beginning, if you don't have any of that, you don't have to worry about it. Start. That's
Just
the
do
point.
it.
Start. Just do it and be yourself, right? So once you pick that platform where that's why you have to do your research, right? You have to do research about your target audience and all that stuff. And once you pick that what is it called? That platform, then you have to create your content schedule and you have to create your content strategy, right? So for example, if you're gonna be on Instagram, obviously you still have to leverage pictures, but most likely reels and stories are gonna be your best option, because that's what the platforms are pushing the most. right?
Right.
And here's the thing: a lot of people is like, I don't know what to say. Go to the search bar. There's a little loop at the bottom says search bar. Go to that search bar and start searching for hashtags, because you can search hashtags, and then the hashtag gives you the option to see like the most recent ones, and there's a tab that shows you only the reels. I will say maybe 75% of the reels that I produce for real estate and short-term rentals on my Instagram is something that I copy from someone else. A
Yeah.
little, because everything is the same,
Yeah.
nobody's and they did this, they did the same from someone else too. So it's as simple as that. And you can just, but obviously I take this concept that are being created already and I just change them, or I'm trying to make them a little bit better. I'm like, is this guy is using his phone? I make sure I'm gonna make this video better because I have a professional camera, I have better audio, I can structure things differently, right? So that's the way you can find content. Just find what others are doing and give it your own touch, your own spin, because that's what everybody and their mother are doing.
Right. And I think one of the
And
things you said is content strategy. And so that's what people really need. If you're not like the one that can just go on the fly, on camera, blah, 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 then you have to have like a content day, right? So where you can literally, and this is what I do, is like I'll shoot a bunch of stuff in one day. So that way I have it, like whether it's for the month or the week or whatever, if I can do like 7 to 10 videos in one day, then I can, push it out at different times. But for the people that are like, oh, I'm going to shoot a video today, but they don't know what to do, they don't know, blah, 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 the chances of you actually doing it is very slim.
yeah, and here's the thing too. It's not all about talking about business, right? And I think that's what a lot of people, a lot of agents, especially in this industry, they make that huge mistake. All they do is talking about real estate all day long and try to see who they can sell. Here's the thing: nobody gives a shit what you're trying to sell. You know, People goes to social media to be entertained, to get distracted, to laugh, to look at memes, right? So in your content strategy, like I said, it's like, imagine the best way that you can create a content strategy, in my opinion, is just make it like a journal, like share your experiences.
Yeah.
Like instead of just talking, like I'm not telling you don't post your new listings or some experiences, but
You need a mix.
exactly, you need a mix of everything. But I we barely talk about real estate in our social media. So I think it's once a week that I drop a post about whether that's real estate or short-term rentals. But the rest are to entertain my audience, to talk about our experiences, to share the things that I'm doing, to motivate, or if there's something real estate related, instead of just pitching something, I use an experience that I have with like, for example, that story that I share with you about the guy calling us for a listing sign. I wrote a post about it and it had almost 400 likes and it generated a couple of leads. So I told the story, that experience that I had with this guy calling me. That's what I did. Just tell the story. But put it this way: I'm telling a story, I'm entertaining my audience, and at the same time, subconsciously, I'm talking about real estate, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yep, it's all there. Yeah,
so
no, I
that's
love it.
that's how you do it. But like I said, people have to be intentional, and you have to invest in your education too. You have to find people that can help you, that can teach you all these things that we have learned. Um, and you have to do the work because it's not going to happen overnight. The reason why I believe a lot of people fail on social media, especially in real estate, is because they make a post today expecting that that's going to generate them 10 leads. No, man, you have to do this consistently. And I do
Consistently.
believe social media is already part of our lives. I'm not telling you be on social media posting stuff every day, 24/7, but you do have to, like it goes back to how you manage your time. Like you take an hour to go and prospecting on social media and made a post and things like that, right? That pretty much is like you're exposing your life on social media. It's part of our lives already. I think that's the mind shift that a lot of people needs to have. Like, and I did that with Kayla, because at some point Kayla was like, "You all the time on social media." I don't want to be all the time on social media. Well, here's the thing: for me, social media, it's not for me to place to go and just scroll and look at memes. That's pretty much our office. That's what
Yeah.
provides us leads. That's what brings us business. So I see as social media as my channel to promote our brand, to promote our business, to networking, to do all that stuff.
So that just brought me to like one thing that I want to bring up before we wrap up here. when you were saying, learn one platform, 100%. And I've always been that way. So with Facebook, right, I really grew my Facebook. I don't have a ton, but I have, 3,800 followers. I have groups that for my coaching group, I have all my stuff in there, my files, blah, blah, blah for them. And I got hacked. And the hacker literally changed my email and my cell phone number. And I was out of Facebook for 3 weeks. I actually know an attorney that works for Facebook. It took her 3 weeks to undo this whole mess for me. So it freaking sucked. And so my lesson that I learned through that experience is 100% learn a platform, but start building on others as well. Because if that one platform goes down, you're freaking screwed. And then the other thing that I was listening to Ed Milet a couple weeks ago, and he was talking to this girl, Amy, I think it's Porterfield or something. And she said, don't build your business on rented space. And that was during the time that, my Facebook was hacked. So I felt like lost. Like imagine what would happen if something, hacked your platform where all of your crap is on and you can't even log in to like communicate with anybody. I couldn't even get into Apex. I had to email Drewby and say, I can't get into Apex. I have to create another Facebook account. And this is me because my main one is hacked. So anyways, my advice would be to definitely not put all your eggs in one basket, because if that basket goes down, then you're kind of screwed,
Yeah.
So, and
no, so I think that's a great point. And like I said, when I said learn one platform is because you have to start somewhere, right? And that's why you have to document everything, because then you're gonna use all of that and repurpose it. For example, I don't mess with TikTok, but I do a lot of reels. So I'm still dropping stuff there. I just literally copy paste the caption, put the video, put it out there. I don't even know who's liking it. I don't know who's following me. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, same.
So I'm not concerned about that platform.
Right.
But I'm just repurposing everything. That's why you have to document things and because there's a way to repurpose all the content, even these videos. There's so many. We have so many softwares right now that they can literally transcribe the whole thing, and then there you go, you have another post.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways to do it, but
I think for everybody like that is watching this, I think the biggest takeaways have been number one, like aside from content having that content strategy, but making sure that you're putting it out there and saving it somewhere so that years down the road you can repurpose it all. Like that's awesome. And then also having your avatar, having the people that you want to attract, and then going after and finding those people where they hang out online on social media, building your brand, and building your brand as an authority, right, in your profession, and then not giving a shit, just like being you, not trying to be somebody that, is not who you really normally are. Right. So I just want to say thank you for being on. It was awesome. I mean, there's so much value here and so many takeaways that I think anybody watching this, whether you're a seasoned agent, or a new agent, is going to get out of this.
And here's one thing that you mentioned too about the followers and all that stuff. I think a lot of shit has changed in social media, and I think for the past few years with all the crap that we've seen, I think the way all that stuff has affected social media is that people are tired of seeing fake people on social media. Like literally the people, if you look around the brands, whatever industry it is, the brands are selling tons of product, and whatever they sell is the people that are authentic. And you don't necessarily need to have, because there's no point. I know at the beginning, years ago, I started pursuing, man, I need to have 10,000 followers on Instagram and all that stuff. I don't care about that anymore, because it doesn't matter if I can have 1 million followers, but if they're the wrong followers, there's no point. I'd rather have 100 followers that I know that they're the right followers and the people that are going to bring me money, that is going to refer me to other people, than having a bunch of followers. So that's a fake reality of thinking that, I need to have thousands of followers for me to do business. No, man. You just need enough. You just need the right people following you in order for you to be successful with your social media.
Content and consistency.
Of course.
That's
yeah.
Huge. So
exactly, because you go back to that.
Newsflash for anybody that's okay. Back in the day, right? The business card on the glamour shot, and then the agent shows up and is like, shit, you do not look like you look on your business card. Is the same way you people online are doing all of these filters and everything else. And then you see them in person and you're like, you do not look like I saw you online. So that's just like a little newsflash for everybody that does a shitload of million different filters. Or maybe I'm just jealous that I don't even know how to work a filter because I'm so like technologically challenged.
People like the real stuff. Like people does like the real stuff. And it's funny that you said about you mentioned about the business cards. Let me see if I can find this real quick, because I remember when I first got my license, they sent me some business cards, because at that point we were with EXP, right? But let me see if I can find it real quick so I can show it to you. I literally, here's the picture, but I don't know if I have it here. It was so funny because they sent me the business cards and I took a picture. I'm gonna send it over so I can.
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell I have this, but it was super funny because it's like, I don't know where sell your home or where. Yes, I do. And it had like the sunglasses that they put on the memes. You know, when you say something smart, you know. It was super fun, but yeah, I cannot find it. I have so much stuff on my phone.
I know, that's the problem these days.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for being on. I really, really appreciate it. If anybody wants to follow you on social media, where can they find you?
If simple, just go to Pedro Meneses. Meneses, you spell it MENESES.online. And in that link, you find every other link to my social media, email, calendar, everything.
Podcast?
So that's where you can connect with me. Yeah. My podcast too and all that stuff.
Okay, awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
Follow him, watch him, copy his stuff because he is crushing it. He's been in the business only a couple of years and he's literally crushing it in the Dallas area. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Tons of value here for everybody. And I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for having me.
Bye. Well, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Real Estate Secrets Unlocked. Don't forget to subscribe to our show on your favorite platform, and we would love your feedback. Check us out on social and let me know what topics you want more of. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and our show. I'm your host, Danielle Damianov, and until next time, stay motivated, stay excited, and keep growing in this crazy world of real estate. Thanks for listening to Real Estate Secrets Unlocked.